Richard Hammond explains what he experienced during his coma. The 2006 310 miles per hour crash. This is super interesting because I hear that people are aware when they're in a coma, and some people say it's like sleeping, and I want to know what his experience was.
This is a personal story about places, about going places in your mind. And I suppose
I've not watched, like, not Top Gear, the new show, whatever it's, I can't remember what it's called right now. He got so old. When did Richard Hammond get old? Why is time real? I dislike it.
about the power of, well,
He still looks good, though.
daydreams. Yeah, daydreams. A long time ago, I was in a coma with a brain injury as a result of a particularly flamboyant crash involving a certain jet-powered dragster. In hospital, intensive care, things apparently not looking very good, but I didn't know. There was a lot of morphine flowing around my system. I finally woke and I shared with my wife, Mindy, a dream I'd been having, a really, really, really vivid one, probably partly on account of the morphine. And in my mind, I'd been walking these hills here in the Lake District, overlooking Buttermere. I was having a lovely time, strolling along, and gradually I got a growing sense of, you know you're in trouble, when you're a teenager staying out just that bit too late. You're not definitely in massive trouble yet, but you're in a bit of trouble.
Dude, that's
and that
terrifying.
feeling grew and grew, and I walked up this slope where I am now, towards this tree, this exact tree. And as I got closer and closer to the tree, that sense of, ooh, I really am in trouble. I'm going to be shouted, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Grew and grew until eventually in my dream, I turned back. I didn't walk round this tree and carry on, and I woke. And that's the dream I told Mindy about.
Whoa.
Mindy told me her side of the story because at the same time I was having that dream, she'd been called into intensive care and told, Mrs. Hammond, I'm really sorry, things aren't looking good. All his vitals, they were monitoring everything. I was on full life support and breathing apparatus and the lot.
Dude, this is straight up terrifying. This is really freaky. I don't like this. This is freaking me out, man.
And she...
The idea of being asleep and being aware that you might die. Not aware, but somewhat aware that something is wrong. Dude, I'm gonna be dreaming at some point over the next few months, and I'm gonna be aware I'm dreaming and then get that feeling and think I'm gonna die in my sleep and freak out, dude.
He was told, it's not looking good, we think we're going to lose him. And she said, is there anything I can do? And they said, well, no, not really. And she said, can I shout at him? And they said, yeah, whatever. And she asked, no, I mean really, really shout at him. And she did. And apparently she roared and screamed and swore at me, don't you dare die.
Whoa.
And that's when I turned back from this tree in my dream. And that's when I woke. It's true. I mean, I didn't really come up to this hill and walk around this tree. I was in a coma in Leeds. But my mind did, and my mind is who I am. I know that very well, having damaged it with a frontal lobe brain injury and spent a long time recovering. And I've taken huge solace from that ever since, because that was my last thought. Certainly at the time. And my last thoughts took me somewhere I love and somewhere I'm happy. And that last thought, if I had shut down and stopped, would have echoed as far as I was concerned for all of eternity. And I've found immense comfort from it ever since. So I'm not scared of this old tree. I pass it regularly when most months at some point I'll come up here and walk. And every time I pass it, I do feel comforted. I know it's where I'll go. And it's still here, and I'm still here. But it does speak of the importance of place.
I'm speechless, man.
And the joy of being connected with the place. And I know this is very, very genuinely where I am. And where one day I will be. And one day I will walk around this tree. It's nice to know where it is.
Dude, that is wild. First of all, What an incredible lady his woman is, huh? My God. I'm just sitting here thinking, I'd be so embarrassed to stand in a hospital room screaming at someone. I'd be embarrassed thinking, oh, what's everyone else gonna think when they hear all this screaming coming from the room? Like, it's gonna... Ooh. And then what if the doctor had said, no, this is a hospital. You can't just scream in the middle of the hospital at your husband who's not even awake. Dude, if that didn't happen, then he might not be alive. Because we could, I mean, did what she did that actually wake him up? Well, it's difficult to argue either way, I feel. Because they always, well, I guess in movies, they always say, oh yeah, if you sit and talk to them, it can help. But then I guess maybe it does. He woke up right then. That is wild. I'm in shock, and it's gonna take me some time to process that video, dude. It's both terrifying and an amazing story.